GOP leaders have been nervous about Senator John Cornyn's seat in Texas. The longtime incumbent had been trailing his GOP challenger, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a controversial firebrand whom Democrats want to face in a general election in the fight for the Senate majority. But as Cornyn allies have been pummeling the airwaves, the senator has been gaining ground. Yet now a twist. A new candidate, Republican Congressman Wesley Hunt, wants the seat as well. That means the primary would get even more expensive and likely extend another 2 months since the top two finishers would have to compete in a May runoff, which is why GOP leaders had pressed Hunt to drop out since he had yet to file paperwork declaring his candidacy. But Hunt tells me he's digging in for a fight. So the filing deadline in this race for the United States Senate for John Cornyn's seat, that's coming up in December. You still have not filed in this race.
Yes.
Are you running?
I absolutely am running, and I am absolutely going to file here very soon. Actually, my plan was to file during the government shutdown, but when things kind of stopped, we had to figure out kind of what we were going to do and recalibrate that. But I will be filing very soon in the next few weeks, of course.
So talk to us about your path here, because, look, it's been a generation since a House member has won statewide in Texas. You're going up against two pretty well-known candidates, people who have a lot more money than you. So what is the path for Wesley Hunt?
Well, I really want to point this out. You talk about the filing deadline rapidly approaching, but imagine if you're a 24-year incumbent. The first time that John Cornyn actually got into office was in 1984, and I was 2 years old. Imagine spending that much time as an elected official, and then getting to the point to where you are now polling in second and third place after spending almost $50 million before the filing deadline. What that simply tells me is that the people of Texas want an alternative. Look, back in the summer, John Cornyn was polling in the high 30s-ish. He has dropped 12 points since then, since I have gotten into the race. Our momentum is moving upwards, and you are correct. This is like a David and Goliath kind of story. I have a couple of smooth stones to throw at him, but guess what? They are very effective. And even though I may not have as much money as him, let me tell you something. There is a lot of momentum behind our campaign, and there is clearly a path, and that's exactly what we are going to exploit.
The Cornyn people see you as a spoiler in this race. They don't think that you can win. They think that what's going to happen is that more likely this is going to be a runoff, which is going to force the party to spend millions of dollars, not just in the primary, but in the runoff as well. What do you say to them when they see you as a spoiler?
Well, they clearly don't care about money because they've already spent $50 million. And you know, we have tight races that's going to be in North Carolina and in Georgia and in Michigan. So at the end of the day, I don't want to hear about the resources conversation because you've already spent all that money. And I think it's time for young, vibrant, America First patriots, which is exactly what the state of Texas voted for because President Trump just won by 15 points, to step into the breach and lead this country for the future. The United States Senate is not a retirement community at the end of the day. And to see young faces like me in the vein of a J.D. Vance, who is 41 years old, in the vein of Marco Rubio, who is in his early 50s, in the vein of our Secretary of War, who's in his mid-40s. Look, our founding fathers were in their 20s and 30s when they founded this great nation. It is time for us to bring that average age down a little bit, and it's time for the next generation to step in and lead this great country.
I know GOP leaders did not want you to run in this race. What about the White House? Has anyone at the White House urged you not to run?
Well, the thing about the White House that I find to be very interesting is this: no one speaks for the White House. No one speaks for Donald John Trump. That man speaks for himself. The only thing I can point out is that he has stayed out of this race throughout the entire time. It's up to somebody to not be given his endorsement. It's up to somebody to earn his endorsement and to work and to show the numbers and to realize that, look, we do need some young people to step into the breach. Time now. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a West Point graduate. I'm a former Apache pilot. I'm the kind of guy that looks at an opportunity like this and says, you know what? It doesn't matter how long I've been in Congress. It is time to burn the boats and let's go lead this country for the future. And so if Senate leadership does not like me being in this race, you know what I say? Good. Because Senate leadership does not pick the leadership in Texas. The people of Texas pick our leadership. It is my job to bring more Texas to D.C., not D.C. to Texas. So if they don't want me, hey, that's a smile. That puts a smile on my face.
I didn't hear you say that, though. So has anyone at the White House actually urged you not to run?
I visited the White House because I really wanted tickets to the UFC fight. A lot of people, there were rumors saying that, they're urging me not to or to run, and really I was just trying to, get
But
some
no one has said
scores,
it. No one has
tickets.
told you that.
Nobody has told me a word. And so what I've done is I've looked at their silence so far on this race, and I'm stepping in to earn their support. But no, I've heard nothing from the White House. I don't speak for the White House.
And have you talked to the president about a possible endorsement or about your interest, or about your plans to run in this
Under
race?
no circumstances will I ever disclose the conversation I had with Donald John Trump.
How pivotal is his endorsement in this race?
It's critical.
If he gets behind Cornyn, would you drop out, I guess?
If he gets behind Cornyn, the problem is this. Our data shows that even if he does support Cornyn, he's so far behind. You have an incumbent polling at 25%. And Donald John Trump's endorsement is absolutely incredible in any Republican primary in this great nation. But I'm sorry, you cannot revive that dead campaign. Not even Donald Trump could do that, in my humble opinion. So that's why I got in this race, to give him an option. To give the people of Texas an option of somebody that can win the primary and win the general, and it won't cost us hundreds of millions of dollars.
So I talked to John Cornyn about you, and no surprise, he was very critical about you. One thing he pointed out was that he said that you have not voted, you missed 27% of your votes this year.
Yeah.
Why?
We were actually talking about that. First of all, the hit on me missing votes I find to be kind of quite interesting. In the beginning of my time here in Congress, my son was actually in the NICU, so I missed a large tranche of votes then. And then also, I was a top surrogate for President Trump during the campaign. I was the one that campaigned for him in Iowa and in Georgia and in Pennsylvania and in Nevada and in California. And when the president says, I want you to campaign for me, guess what? You show up to work for the president at that time. But the issue is not about the votes that I've missed. It's about the votes that I've taken. Because people can see through the idea of, are we going to really talk about he missed votes? I mean, what is this, elementary school?
Yeah, because
what do I get? A certificate for showing up to work and voting on naming another post office after Sacagawea? No. What they want us to see are, did you support the big, beautiful bill? Are you going to defend the rights of Texas? Are you going to defend the First Amendment right and our Second Amendment rights? That's what the people of Texas care about.
So you're okay missing some of the votes because you're saying those are meaningless votes, right? Is that what you're saying?
Some of them absolutely are. Some of them absolutely are. But when it came time for the votes that mattered, that impacted Texans, I will always show up and I will always be there. And the people of my district and the people of Texas know it.
I want to read you as we close here. It's what Cornyn said to me. I said, well, it looks like Wesley Hunt's going to run. He said, well, if he runs, he can't win. It's going to be the end of his political career. What do you say to him?
What I say to that is, I have survived combat. I flew 55 combat air missions in Baghdad. At the end of my political career, I'm still alive and well, and I'm still fighting for this great nation. And at the end of the day, I am not going to be a 30-year guy that's hung around the hoop for this long and not pass the mantle on to somebody else when it's time for you to go. Look, if that means this is my political career, I'll find another career. But it is absolutely my job to follow what I believe is the best use of my time, is to continue to serve this country in the halls of the Senate.
All right, my excellent panel is back. Just to look at a snapshot of where the polling says this race is, there's really not much reliable polling that's out there. This was actually done before Hunt said he was going to run, so as you can see, there's no clear leader from the public polling there. And there has been a ton of money. He's right. There have been $52 million spent overall by Republicans in the Senate GOP primary, $40 million of which were spent by pro-Cornyn super PACs. Does Wesley Hunt actually have a chance to win this race?
I mean, it's obviously a long shot. What this is clearly going to make it be a runoff, which is exactly what John Cornyn does not want to happen. The White House isn't getting involved. I mean, they are spending so much money in Texas. It is pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, will Trump get involved? That's a question that I put to Senator Cornyn himself.
I wish he'd hang around the House of Representatives, where he is currently employed and where he's paid by taxpayers. Well, he can't win, so this could well be the end of his political career if he decides to make this race, and he may be thinking about that.
And what's been your message to Trump?
If I'm at the top of the ticket in November, chances are it will help down ballot races, including these congressional seats that are now in litigation. So I think it's in the president's best interest, and that's what I've explained to him.
He first knocked Wesley Hunt for his voting record, and then he talked about Trump. If you're Trump, this is a big risk to stay out of the race, because who knows how it's going to end up.
Yeah, obviously we'll all be watching that closely, because it seems like any politician would say, I don't need to get involved with this because it is going to be like, but
he's
you know,
one who
Trump-
could actually clear the field if he wanted to.
He could indeed, no doubt. His weight still is a ton inside of these Republican primaries, and he could have a huge impact. It's just that he also would go against the grain of some of his core supporters. He's not sure that he's fully aligned with John Cornyn, obviously. Yeah. If it was an easy bet for him, he would do it. He also doesn't want to pick the wrong horse here in case that power is on a diminishing curve. I will just say, though, listening to that interview, it is amazing to me that the Democrats and the Republicans are having a similar conversation about this generational divide. Everything Wesley Hunt was saying about not a retirement home or citing the ages of the next generation, and that is what we're hearing inside a lot of these Democratic Party conversations.
I mean, the President Trump has been asked about this primary several times, maybe not since Wesley Hunt declared his intention to get in, but he keeps saying over and over, they're both my friends. I don't know if I want to get involved. So, I mean, he could make a difference, but right now he's shown no inclination of wanting to get in.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, that's a fascinating race. And of course, Democrats have their own messy primary in that state as well, and that's going to be a big question.